So heel flips. I just want to say that kickflips and heels have a lot in common. Like the weight distribution is the same exact thing, and the concept of tucking your legs in after you flick is very important with both of them. The only thing that's different is where you flick and how you learn to flick the heel flip. That's the only thing that's really different. And for the people who don't know, kickflips are flicked with your toes and the board flips into you. Heel flips are flicked with your heel and the board flicks away from you. So tricks to know before you learn the heel flip. One would be make sure that your ollies are nice and solid, like you're able to get your back truck off the ground a good 3 inches or so. You just want to have some height so that the board has room to rotate. And kickflips also help because you kind of get that experience of board rotating beneath your feet and staying above the board and landing back on the board. But you don't have to learn how to kickflip, because usually what happens is once someone learns the ollie, they would go and learn the kickflip or the heel flip first. There's really no order to it. So for foot positioning, your back foot is going to be like an ollie, nothing special. For your front foot, this is where things get a little tricky, because some people prefer to have their front foot like this, here, 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 here. But for me personally, I think everyone should start with their front foot vertical in the middle of the board. So I kind of have my front foot right here, where my heel is not hanging off, it's just touching the edge. And you could also try turning your toes of your front foot towards the tail, like this, have a little bit of an angle. You could try that too. If you don't get much flip out of it, maybe try a little bit further back, and then as you get more experience with flipping, just move it a little bit more towards the middle. Also with your front foot, the further up the board you go, the harder it is to flick, but it's actually easier to land. The further back you go, the easier it is to flick, but it's actually pretty hard to land. That's why I prefer, starting in the middle and see what you like. Alright, so for starting the trick, get into your foot positioning like this, crouch down, bend your legs, and have all of your weight between your feet like this. Like have all of your weight right here, and make sure that your shoulders are parallel with the board. You're not twisting like this. Your shoulders line up. Alright, so now to start the trick, what you're going to do is you're going to rise up, you're going to pop down, and you're going to start to drag. Now remember, everything I did right there is exactly like an ollie. Like rising up, popping down, starting to drag, everything, the timing, that was just like an ollie. So what's going to happen here is my front foot is going to drag up the board, and my back foot is going to be tucked into my body at the same exact time. And here's a little slow motion clip of it just to see what is actually happening. And now I'm going to be talking about the back foot and what it's going to be doing the whole trick. So what your back foot is going to be doing is once you pop the board, your back leg is going to be tucked into your body, so that when the board starts to rotate gracefully, when you think the time is right, just extend your legs. So this is what the back foot thinks is happening. It's like pops the board, tucks, comes back. And this is what your front foot's going to be doing. Since you're dragging up the board, you're going to have to angle your foot like this, and your goal is to kick out with your heel right here. And you can flick your heel flips anywhere along here. It's really not that specific. Like you could flick it like this, flick it like that, and you'll still have a nice heel flip. And for the people wondering what flick is, all it is just kicking the board. Really, that's all it is, just that. And remember, when dragging, always have your front foot in contact with the board throughout the whole drag. Because a lot of people like to take the front foot off and kick the board, and what happens there is, one, it either starts to rocket like this, so it's like vertical, or two, you'll have some really, really slow half heel flip like this. So if you want a fast flick and your board leveled, just stay in contact when you drag, and everything should be good. Alright, so now your front foot is around here, and what you're going to do is you're going to flick out like this. Do not flick up, because then the board will start to go vertical on you. Do not flick down. You just want to flick in this motion. And how I like to think of it is when you're up to here, I like to try to flick into the board. Like I just like to get my foot into here and just push it in. That's how I kind of think of it. Alright, so now I flick the board and my front foot is around here, and just pretend the board is rotating. What I'm going to do is going to take my front leg and tuck it into my body so that my front foot is right above the board. And once it finishes its rotation, just extend your legs and try to land on the board. And I think one of the big problems people have with heel flips is that when you flick the board, your front leg will be in the way. What I do is I just look at the middle of the board and see what's happening there. But over time, you'll have a general feel of what the board is doing beneath you. So right now, just try to get your feet on the board and do your best. All right, so for a quick recap, you're going to be popping the board just like an ollie.
and you're going to be dragging up the board and tucking your back leg at the same exact time. And remember that when you drag up the board, you angle your foot and you remain in contact with the board throughout the whole drag. And when you flick outward, don't flick up, don't flick down, just want to flick like into the board, so it goes like that. And when your front foot is over here, you're going to take your front leg and tuck it into your body. So now your front leg and your back leg are both going to be tucked and hovering over the board. And when the board starts to finish its rotation, just extend your legs and just try your best to land back on the board. Just make sure you're centered and over the board. Your weight does not shift anywhere. And remember to keep your weight in one area throughout the whole trick. Do not lean forwards, backwards, left, right, or anything. Like, it's very common for people to start leaning backwards and do something like this. So just stay in this one spot and jump vertically up. And there's one tip that I really stress on, which is tucking your legs. When you flick the board, tuck both your legs into your body. Because there's a lot of people out there who do this. And why that irritates me so much is because when people start the heel flip and they just put your back foot on the ground like that, how are you planning on getting back on the board? Like, you already just failed the trick. So what you have to do is, when you pop the board, tuck that back leg into your body so you are forced to land back on the board. So please promise me that when you pop the board, you'll tuck your back leg into your body, and when you flick out, you tuck your front leg into your body. Like, I guess this is an okay way to practice flicking your heel flips, but, you know, just don't do it too often, because this might turn into a habit. But a good way to practice heel flips is doing that half flip land. Like, you stand on the board, and you do this. And you try to land somewhere on the bottom of the board. Like, you can land here, 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 anywhere where your foot is touching the board, that's perfect. And when you can get those consistently, just kick out harder. That's all you need to do. Just make sure your drag is perfect, and you kick out perfect. All right, so that's about it for the heel flips. If you have any problems or any questions, don't be afraid to leave a comment or send me a message or whatever, and I'll try to get back to you on it. And as for now, good luck.